Hello and welcome to Oak National Academy. My name is Mr Hood and I'm the principal here, which means that it's my job to make sure that all of our fantastic teachers get great lessons to you every single week. The first thing that I want to say is a huge well done to all of you for completing millions of lessons over the past couple of weeks. Everybody has been working hard right from reception class all the way through to year 10 in all of the different subjects that are on offer for you. Alongside those lessons, we're also going to bring you regular assemblies like this one. The assemblies are an opportunity to think about some wider things that might be affecting us at the moment and to create a moment for us all to come together, sit and watch, listen and talk to our family and friends. The theme of this week's assembly is hope. One of the things that's hard for us all at the moment is how we're able to cope with the situation that we're in. We might not be able to see our friends as much, we might not be able to see our family as much, we might not be able to go outside as much, and that can be really difficult. But if we have hope, if we're optimistic, if we can see the good things that we have and the opportunities that are coming, I know that we'll be able to get through this together. I'm really hopeful because I get to see week in, week out, all of the fantastic work that you're doing, learning at home each and every day. We've got two speakers in today's assembly, and it's my job and privilege to introduce the first of those speakers to you. Our first speaker today is Gavin Williamson MP, who is the Secretary of State for Education. That means it's his responsibility to look after all of our nurseries and schools and colleges and universities and all of the children's services that keep us all safe. He's going to speak to us before we introduce our second speaker. Have a fantastic week. Keep working really hard and keep telling us how you're getting on because we love to hear from you.
Hello everyone. I can't say how excited I am to be joining you at the very first assembly of the Oak National Academy. You're going to have the opportunity to meet some brilliant new teachers here, and you'll have a great chance to study with them. By doing this, you're helping our country fight the coronavirus. I know that life has changed for everyone as we tackle this virus, and we're all doing our bit to support the NHS. The best way that we can do this is, sadly for most of you, not to go to school, but have to stay at home instead. I know this is not easy and you must be absolutely desperate to get back to normal, see your friends, see your teachers again. Although you might not have thought you were going to miss school that much, I'm sure that that is what you are currently doing, missing it greatly. I've got two daughters at secondary school and I know that they can't wait to get back to school. Sometimes mum and dad helping them out is not as good as having their teachers help them out. But just because you're not at school, that doesn't mean you're going to miss out. Your teachers are working just as hard as they always do. There are plenty of activities to help you learn at home, and this wonderful online classroom is just one of them. So I want to say thank you. Thank you for being patient and learning at home. You're really making a big difference. Now let's see what some schools have been getting up to in the past few weeks.
Thank you, Secretary of State. I'm now delighted to hand over to pupils from two schools, Sneinton Church of England Primary School in Nottingham and St Mary Redcliffe and Temple School in Bristol. They're going to talk a little bit about what hope means to them, introduce their schools, and introduce our main speaker today, the Archbishop of Canterbury, Justin Welby.
Welcome to our school!
Morning! My name is Joshua and welcome to my school, Sneinton CB Primary School, here in Nottingham.
Today's assembly is all about hope. Hope in the Bible means to have a confident expectation of the promises God has given unto us. So now let's hear from Marvellous to see what hope means to her.
Hope is something that is in my heart to let me have strength, like my friends give me hope, my teachers give me hope, and God gives me hope.
We are students from St Mary Redcliffe and Temple School in the heart of Bristol.
Though we are separated, our school helps us to be fully alive. Hope is at the heart of all we do.
Hope feels like freedom.
Light in the darkest room, something that's always there.
It feels like warm because of the sunshine.
If I don't have hope, I can't really push on and do what I really want.
Hope to me is the key workers working together to get us through these hard times.
Now, enough of me. Let's see what the Archbishop of Canterbury thinks about hope.
It is great to be with you today for this first Oak National Academy Assembly. It's wonderful that this academy is growing and exists. In these dark times, it's a place of light and of commitment to the future. And it's a great privilege that the Church of England can be involved, and particularly I'm very grateful for being asked to do this first assembly. My name's Justin Welby. I'm the Archbishop of Canterbury, which, if you don't know, is a sort of, I suppose I'm meant to lead the Church of England and churches around the world. We all have times we remember, and I suspect this year will be one of those times. Lots of you will have sad reasons for remembering this year. People who were ill, people who've died, fear, the lockdown, economic worries, pressure at home, rows and difficulties. There'll be lots of things that you're going through. What do we do with that? For Christians, it's all summed up in a word, hope. It's an overused word. We use hope to mean, you buy a lottery ticket and you hope you'll win. Well, you almost certainly won't, but there's nevertheless a bit of hope. But in the Bible, hope means the certain expectation of something you don't have yet, but you will have in the future because it's been promised by God. Hope is hope of life, hope of purpose, hope of peace, hope of justice, equality, and a good future. And all over the world, people struggle with the most terrible circumstances. Part of my job, because the Church of England is one part of a global church in 165 countries, part of my job is to go and see people in places of great pressure. And I remember a couple of years ago in an area called the Newber Mountains, meeting a little 7-year-old who had run away from some fighting, been separated from his parents, been picked up by a small group of other people running away, refugees. I sat next to him, couldn't speak his language, he couldn't speak mine, and I prayed for him in English, but I've often pictured him. What hope did that child have, those refugees have? Well, for them, as it happens, they were Christians. They believed that God was with them in the middle of the mess and that God would free them. They were going to get to a refugee camp, a place where the international community and the national government had set up feeding and tents, and not brilliant, but a lot better than being on the road and not being shot at. And there, when I went to a refugee camp a few days later, the first thing they'd done was set up schools under trees in the open. They'd planted for next year, a sign of hope. They were looking to the future. They were planting knowledge in young people and food for their families. And that came out not of physical possibilities, but of spiritual hope. Because human beings aren't just physical, they're spiritual as well. And when we nurture the spirit, we can find that our emotions are healthier, our mental health is better, our physical health is better. We have hope, and hope gives us purpose, and we know that we're loved, and Christians believe we're loved and called by God. One of my heroes is the man on the front of this book, Nelson Mandela. He was imprisoned for 26 years because of a struggle against the oppressive apartheid regime in South Africa at the time. He was in prison from 1964 to 1990, came out and was elected president of the country and reconciled so much of the hatred there. While he was in prison, he remained positive. He was patient. He learnt not to hate, and he always kept going under pressure. Positivity, patience, keeping going under pressure. 3 P's that speak of how we nurture hope. One of the wonderful things he said, which came out of his hope, was, may your choices reflect your hopes, not your fears. That would be my prayer for you today. Many of you will be going through really tough times at home. Many of you will be having a good time, but for some it'll be really hard. There'll be all kinds of problems. I know what that's like. I've been in that situation. How do you keep up hope? Patience, positivity, and keeping going under pressure. And it's God who gives us the strength, because as Christians we believe that Jesus Christ was crucified on the cross unjustly, but on the 3rd day he rose from the dead. He conquered death because he was both fully human, understood our weaknesses, and fully God, able to overcome the greatest enemy, death. And it's because of him that I have always known hope, even in the worst of times. I'm just going to say a short prayer. You don't have to take part, but if you want to, just under your breath, say Amen at the end. Lord our God, come and be with all of us together in these difficult times. Give us patience. Enable us to stay positive, and give us courage to keep going under pressure. And may the choices we make today reflect our hopes, not our fears. Amen. May God bless you today.
Well, that is all we have time for this week. I'd just like to say another big thank you to all of our pupils, the Secretary of State for Education and the Archbishop of Canterbury for joining us for our first assembly this week. We've got loads to look forward to over the next week, so keep working really hard, listen to your parents and listen to your teachers to make sure you get the most out of the week. I also want you to encourage, if your parents are happy for you to share your artwork with us on social media using the Learn With Oak hashtag. We really enjoyed seeing all of your pictures last week, and this week is all about texture, and so we're excited to see what it is that you do at home. Look forward to seeing you next week. Keep working hard.